The man grabbed the bellboy by his collar and lifted him off the ground. 18 years old. First week on the job. Feet dangling 2 inches above the marble floor of the Four Seasons Beverly Hills. "You dropped my bag." The man's face was purple with rage. "Do you have any idea what was in that bag? Do you have any idea who I am?" The lobby went silent. 50 guests, front desk staff, concierge, valets, everyone frozen. The bellboy's name was Diego Mendez. He wasn't crying. Not yet. He was too shocked to cry. His hands were gripping the man's wrists, trying to relieve the pressure on his throat. His legs kicked uselessly in the air. "I'm sorry." Diego's voice was a whisper. "Please, I'm sorry." The man didn't let go. He shook Diego like a rag doll. "Sorry doesn't fix a broken laptop. Sorry doesn't fix the presentation I have in 2 hours. You're finished. You hear me? I'll make sure you never work in this city again." 50 people watched. Nobody moved. And then a voice came from the seating area near the fireplace. "Put him down." The man turned, still holding Diego by the collar. Michael Douglas was already walking toward them. What happened in the next 45 seconds would get the guest permanently banned from every Four Seasons property in the world. The bellboy would receive something that night that changed the trajectory of his entire life. And the man who grabbed him? He would lose his job within 72 hours. But here's what nobody in that lobby knew. The story of what Michael Douglas did would spread through the hotel industry for years, and it would change how one 18-year-old kid saw himself forever. Stay with me. If stories like this move you, subscribe right now and tell me where you're watching from today. Diego Mendez had been working at the Four Seasons Beverly Hills for exactly 6 days. 6 days. He was 18 years old, fresh out of high school in East Los Angeles. His mother cleaned houses for wealthy families in Beverly Hills. His father worked 2 jobs, construction during the day, security at night. They had sacrificed everything to give Diego a chance at something better. When Diego got the bellboy job, his mother cried. "Mi hijo, working at the Four Seasons." She kept saying it over and over, the Four Seasons, like it was a miracle, and for their family, it was. The starting pay was $12 an hour. But the tips were where the real money was. Diego had heard stories from other bellboys. $100 tips from movie stars, $50 just for carrying bags to a room. In a good month, a bellboy could make more than Diego's father made in 2. Diego had a plan. Work at the Four Seasons for 2 years. Save everything. Then community college. Then maybe, if he worked hard enough, a real university. His mother had never finished high school. His father had a 6th grade education. Diego was going to be the first Mendez to get a college degree. But first, he had to survive the job. The Four Seasons Beverly Hills was a different world. Crystal chandeliers, marble floors, guests who wore watches worth more than Diego's family's apartment. He had been trained to be invisible, efficient, polite, never make eye contact for too long, never speak unless spoken to, carry the bags, open the doors, smile, disappear. For 6 days, Diego had done everything right, and then came Richard Ashworth. If this story is touching your heart, drop a comment below and let me know where you're watching from. And don't forget to subscribe, because what happened next is something this hotel tried to keep quiet for 20 years. Richard Ashworth was the kind of man who believed money made him better than other people. 47 years old, tech executive, net worth somewhere around $80 million. He stayed at the Four Seasons Beverly Hills 4 or 5 times a year. Always the same suite, always the same demands, always the same attitude. The staff knew him. They dreaded him. He complained about everything: the temperature of his room, the thread count of his sheets, the speed of room service. He had gotten 3 employees fired in the past 2 years. One for looking at him wrong, one for being too slow with his bags, one for reasons nobody ever understood. Richard Ashworth was untouchable. He spent over $100,000 a year at Four Seasons properties worldwide. That kind of money bought a lot of forgiveness. On the morning of March 15, 2001, Richard arrived at the Four Seasons with 4 bags. One of them, a black leather briefcase, contained his laptop and a presentation he was giving that afternoon to potential investors. $50 million on the line. Diego was assigned to carry his bags. The walk from the car to the elevator was 47 steps. Diego had counted them during training. 47 steps, and you had to glide. Smooth, no bouncing. The bags couldn't jostle. Diego made it 44 steps. His shoe caught on a slight ridge in the marble floor, a tiny imperfection most people would never notice. Diego stumbled, just for a second. His hand slipped. The briefcase fell. It hit the marble floor with a crack that echoed through the lobby. Time stopped. Diego picked up the briefcase immediately, checked it. The leather was scuffed, but intact. He had no way of knowing that inside, the laptop screen had cracked on impact. He also had no way of knowing that the next 60 seconds would nearly destroy him. Richard Ashworth saw the briefcase fall. He stopped walking. His face went from irritated to something else entirely. Something Diego had never seen directed at him before. Pure rage. Richard moved faster than Diego expected. 1 second, he was 10 feet away. The next second, his hand was around Diego's collar, and Diego's feet left the ground. Before I tell you what Michael Douglas did, you need to understand where he was sitting and what he had been watching. Michael Douglas had arrived at the Four Seasons Beverly Hills an hour earlier. He wasn't staying there. He was meeting a producer for breakfast to discuss a new project. The meeting had ended 15 minutes ago, but Michael had stayed to finish his coffee and read the newspaper. He liked the lobby of the Four Seasons. Quiet, comfortable, good coffee. He was sitting in a leather armchair near the fireplace, maybe 30 feet from where Diego was carrying the bags. Michael saw the stumble, saw the briefcase fall. He winced slightly, knowing that probably wasn't good, but accidents happen. He went back to his newspaper. Then he heard the crack of Diego's feet leaving the marble. Michael looked up. What he saw made his stomach turn. A middle-aged man in an expensive suit had an 18-year-old kid lifted off the ground by his collar. The kid's face was turning red, his feet were kicking, and the man was screaming at him like he was garbage. 50 people in that lobby, staff, guests, security. Nobody was moving. Michael watched for exactly 3 seconds. He saw the fear in Diego's eyes. He saw the rage in Richard's face. He saw the bellboy's hands gripping the man's wrists, trying to breathe. 3 seconds. Then Michael Douglas set down his coffee cup, folded his newspaper, and stood up. If you're still with me, you're amazing. Hit subscribe, drop a like, and tell me in the comments what you would have done in that lobby. Because what happened next made the entire hotel industry pay attention. Put him down. Michael's voice wasn't loud. It didn't need to be. In the silence of that lobby, it carried like a bell. Richard Ashworth turned his head, still holding Diego by the collar. When he saw who was speaking, his expression flickered. Recognition, calculation, then dismissal. This doesn't concern you. Michael walked closer, slow, deliberate, each step echoing on the marble. I'm making it concern me. Put the kid down, now. Richard's grip on Diego's collar tightened. Do you know who I am? Do you know how much money I spend at this hotel? Michael stopped about 5 feet away. Close enough to act if he needed to. I don't care who you are, and I don't care how much money you spend. What I care about is that you have an 18-year-old kid hanging from your fist like a piece of meat." Diego was gasping now. His face had gone from red to purple. Richard's grip was cutting off his air. Michael took one more step forward. "You have 3 seconds to put him down, or I'm going to make you put him down." His voice was still calm, still controlled, but there was something in it now, something that made Richard Ashworth realize this wasn't a bluff. Richard looked at Michael, looked at the lobby full of people now staring at him, looked at the front desk staff with phones in their hands. He let go. Diego dropped to the floor. He fell to his knees, gasping for air, hands at his throat. Michael immediately knelt beside him. "Hey, look at me. You're okay. You're okay. Just breathe." Diego looked up at Michael Douglas, one of the most famous faces in the world, kneeling on a marble floor, making sure a bellboy could breathe. Richard straightened his suit jacket. "This isn't over. That boy damaged my property. I want him fired. I want him banned. I want—" Michael stood up, slowly. He turned to face Richard. "What you want stopped mattering the moment you put your hands on a kid." Richard's face went red. "A kid? He broke my laptop. I don't care if he broke your car." Michael's voice was rising now. For the first time, there was heat in it. "You don't put your hands on people. You don't lift someone off the ground by their collar. You don't choke an 18-year-old because he dropped a bag." The lobby was completely silent. Every guest, every staff member, every security guard, all watching. Michael turned to the front desk. "Is the general manager here?" A woman in a suit stepped forward. She had been standing behind the desk, paralyzed by what was happening. "I'm the assistant manager, Patricia Chen. Patricia, I want this man removed from the hotel, right now, and I want it documented that he assaulted a member of your staff." Richard laughed, a sharp, ugly sound. "Removed? I spend $100,000 a year at Four Seasons Properties. You can't remove me." Patricia hesitated. She looked at Richard. She looked at Michael. She looked at Diego, still on his knees, still trying to catch his breath. Michael spoke again. "Patricia, this man just choked an employee in your lobby, in front of 50 witnesses. If you don't remove him, I'll make sure every news outlet in Los Angeles knows that the Four Seasons allows guests to assault staff members without consequences." He paused. "Your choice." The standoff lasted 5 seconds. Patricia picked up the phone. Security to the main lobby. Immediately, Richard's face went from red to white. "You can't do this. I'll sue. I'll have your job. I'll—" 2 security guards appeared, large men in dark suits. Patricia's voice was steady now. "Mr. Ashworth, please collect your belongings. You're being asked to leave the property. This is outrageous. I'm a platinum member. Sir," one of the security guards stepped forward. "Please come with us." Richard looked around the lobby. 50 pairs of eyes staring at him. No sympathy, no support, just judgment. He pointed at Diego. "This isn't over for you." Then he pointed at Michael. "And this definitely isn't over for you." He turned and walked toward the exit, flanked by security. The lobby remained silent until the doors closed behind him. Then, slowly, something remarkable happened. Someone started clapping. Then another person. Then another. Within seconds, the entire lobby was applauding. Guests, staff, everyone. Michael didn't acknowledge it. He was already kneeling beside Diego again. "Come on, let's get you some water. Can you stand?" Diego nodded. His legs were shaky, but he stood. Michael put a hand on his shoulder and guided him toward the seating area. He sat Diego down in one of the leather chairs and asked a passing waiter for a glass of water. For the next 10 minutes, Michael Douglas sat with Diego Mendez. He didn't leave. He didn't go back to his newspaper. He just sat there, making sure the kid was okay. The aftermath came fast. Within 2 hours, Richard Ashworth was banned from every Four Seasons property worldwide, permanently, no appeals. His platinum status was revoked. His membership in the loyalty program was terminated. The official statement said it was for violating their code of conduct regarding guest behavior towards staff. The unofficial reason was simpler. Michael Douglas had made it clear he would never stay at a Four Seasons again if they didn't act. Within 72 hours, Richard Ashworth was fired from his own company. One of the guests in the lobby that morning was a tech journalist. She had recorded the entire confrontation on her phone. When the board of directors saw the footage of their CEO choking an 18-year-old bellboy, the decision was unanimous. The presentation Richard was so worried about, he never gave it. The $50 million went to a competitor. But the most important part of the story happened later that night. Diego had been sent home after the incident. The hotel told him to take a few days off, recover. They would pay him for the time. He was sitting in his family's apartment in East Los Angeles, still shaking, when there was a knock at the door. A courier, package for Diego Mendez. Diego opened it. Inside was a handwritten note on plain white paper. Diego, what happened today wasn't your fault. Not one bit of it. You did nothing wrong. The man who hurt you was a bully who thought his money made him powerful. It doesn't. Real power is getting up tomorrow and going back to work. Real power is not letting someone else's cruelty define you. You have more strength in you than you know. Use it. Michael Douglas. Underneath the note was a check, $10,000. The memo line read, "For college, don't give up." Diego's mother found him crying at the kitchen table, holding the check like it was made of glass. He kept the note in his wallet for 17 years. Diego Mendez went back to work at the Four Seasons 3 days later. He worked there for 4 more years, saved everything he could, plus the $10,000 that he never touched. In 2005, he enrolled at UCLA. In 2009, he graduated with a degree in hospitality management. Today, Diego Mendez is the general manager of a luxury hotel in San Francisco. He oversees 400 employees. He makes more money in a month than his father made in a year. And every time he sees a guest mistreat a staff member, he thinks about that morning in the Four Seasons lobby. He thinks about the man who grabbed him by the collar. And he thinks about the man who said 2 words that changed everything. Put him down. In 2019, a hospitality industry magazine interviewed Diego about his career. They asked about his management philosophy, about how he treats his staff. Diego reached into his wallet and pulled out a folded piece of paper, yellow with age, soft from years of handling. Michael's note. "I've read this 1,000 times," Diego said. "Every time I'm about to make a decision about an employee, I think about what Michael Douglas did for me. He didn't know me. He had nothing to gain. He just saw someone being hurt and decided to do something about it." He folded the note carefully and put it back. That's what I try to do now. Not because it's good business, because it's right, because everyone deserves to be treated with dignity, even an 18-year-old bellboy who drops a bag. The journalist asked what Diego would say to Michael Douglas if he could see him today. I would say thank you, not just for stopping that man, not just for the check or the note, for showing me what real power looks like. Diego paused. Real power isn't money. It isn't fame. It isn't being able to hurt people without consequences. Real power is choosing to protect someone who can't protect themselves. That's what Michael Douglas taught me in that lobby, and that's what I try to teach everyone who works for me. Michael Douglas has never spoken publicly about what happened at the Four Seasons that morning. When asked about it years later, he said simply, "A guy was hurting a kid. I told him to stop. That's it. But the people who were there remember it differently. They remember a movie star setting down his coffee and standing up while everyone else stayed frozen, walking across a marble lobby while everyone else stayed silent, looking a bully in the eye and saying two words that nobody else would say. Put him down. And they remember an 18-year-old bellboy, gasping for air on a marble floor, looking up to see one of the most famous men in the world kneeling beside him. You're okay. Just breathe. That's not just a good deed. That's character. And character is something you carry with you forever. Thank you for watching until the end. If this story moved you, please like, comment, and subscribe. Tell me in the comments, have you ever seen someone stand up for a stranger? I'll see you in the next one.